Hello people, and welcome back to part 11 of Noveria, our Cities Skylines snow build. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. And last time out, we had our first city recap, taking a look back over the entire city and everything that's happened. And it's nice, isn't it? I'm really starting to enjoy Noveria now. The city's starting to develop some personality with all these little builds that we put together so far. And I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into that downtown, which is not that far away now, I suppose. Maybe another 10 episodes, perhaps. We'll see. We will see. However, in today's episode, we have an absolute ton of industrial demand to fulfill. And I'm eyeing up a little office park build alongside the river here, next to our oil industry. We're going to bring some trams out of the town centre, and possibly introduce the first monorail system for the city today as well. So we shall see how that goes. So added another toll booth, again, to make sure we maintain those security gate vibes for the oil industry area. So we did say that we would implement a cargo terminal as part of our build here. We now have that unlocked, so we can bring it in. I think we're just going to pop it here for right now, okay? And then we'll allow the train line to probably run through the office part today as well. We'll see what happens. Are we sinking through power here now? Yeah, we should be okay. We do have a national line over here, so let's prepare the connection into this as well. So it's a little bit tight here for the time being. Once we pop this next tile, we'll move this junction back. We don't really have the room to do it at the minute. So we'll see how that performs. It probably will choke, but it's only temporary, so don't worry about that. This is the wrong toll booth, of course. We want this one, the two-way toll booth, right? Let's drop that in there. And then let's start to map out something of a road network for our office park. I think we'll come out by 10 tiles initially, and we'll actually switch up to a 4-lane for this one. Now let's go ahead and grab a small one-way road with grass. And we're going to come out by 4 tiles. Get ourselves a little roundabout here to introduce ourselves into the area. Grab a large avenue with grass. And then we'll start fanning out some smaller avenues and streets off of the back of this. So we also have our walkable seawall keys over here as well, and I definitely want these to be a part of the office park if we can. So let's come off all our snap in. There is a sweet spot. There we go. Yeah, they won't be able to walk through that, but let's pretend we didn't see that. We might have to elevate the highway a little bit. So we'll come onto road guideline, and I definitely want this to be aligned centrally with this road. So if we come off angle and road length here too, let's do 120 either side. And very much like the initial key placement here, I'm keeping them very straight and rigid so it kind of boxes off the river in this fashion. So we'll see this vibe develop out here as well. Then we can get a straight one down there, and then can we even repeat this? What's the measurement here? 260. Yeah, we can get in there. And then we'll have no snapping, and we'll come under the bridge. And then I think this is where we'll end the keys for this part of the river. We'll move into some more rural country vibes into these valleys. So the rivers won't be keyed, they'll just be natural. Okay, so with that in mind, let's have a little discussion about how we can possibly introduce monorail into the city, which will eventually flow into the downtown from here. So let's start bringing out a couple of roads either side here, just so we've got some placeholders in, alright? And then let's come out, what's the distance here? By 300, okay. So we can draw it out from here. And then we should have enough room here to drop in a regular monorail station. Alright, and then again there's possible decoration opportunities here to start moving through on our grid snapping with no road guideline. Let's allow the game to play so we can draw these in, and then we'll come off the grid. And then we just want to come back into the grid as we place, then back out. Otherwise we get some weird snapping near the keys. Okay. And again, I think that'd be nice to have some monorail flowing around the side as well. Let's come on to road guideline 2 so we can snap into the keys now. Okay, and then let's see what the measurement here is. 525. Yeah, so this is where we want to snap here. Just keep that key running. Yep, 525. And then we can just use our freeform tool to generate some nice, sensible, smooth looking curves. Alright. Now where do we want this to go? This is the question. And we could introduce another monorail stop here. Again, introducing some more public transport convergence as people hook in with the metro, which this line is super busy now. Got other people walking around the town centre. 408 on this metro line. Do we need more cars here? Where's the metro? Are you full? Yeah, 371 over here. Yeah, let's maybe pop on 2 more metro cars here just to start clearing this backlog a little bit. Because the university campus is super busy with public transport. Okay, so let's have a little look about where we might be able to squeeze in a little bit of monorail and metro convergence for our city. Let's come on to road length here too, no guideline. Put them in. And can we squeeze one in here perhaps? No, but we can if we take this road out, and this isn't really a necessary connection, so that's fine. Okay, so we'll have that. We will have to... No, we won't have to remove some stuff, that's alright. And as we're coming over water, it's always a nice idea to stick in increments of 10. I think that's going to be level, right? Slightly better. I think that's exactly the same though, isn't it? Literally made no difference at all. But we can now just leave that as a reminder as we come to work on our eventual downtown riverfront here. That monorail does need to be introduced into that area. Then we can also start grabbing this now. Let's come onto our freeform tool. And then we'll just curve behind these buildings here. Okay. Don't want too many gnarly curves with the monorail stuff. Let's come off road length 2. Whilst we're working with some finicky little spaces. Oh really? Do we have to come up a step here? Looks like we will. Hopefully this will clear it. Yeah, there we go. That's going to be alright, isn't it? Okay. That's not bad. And then we'll come back to our road guideline and the freeform. And then we'll just start snapping back onto the road guidelines I've already laid out. Wonderbar. Let's now throw down some monorail lines. And we can now have a little bit of monorail spice within Noveria for the first time, of course. Lots of decoration opportunities out here as well. With park plazas. Real endless opportunities here for decoration. We can decide on what we want to do during our detailing time lapse, of course. So I also want trams in here as well. Now this might be public transport overkill to bring trams in as well as the monorail. But I think to introduce the 3rd tram line from this point here, this is so busy. This is so busy. Should we bring in more trams here? 516? Yeah, this is this one, isn't it? Yeah, let's maybe pop on 2 more trams on this line. I mean, it's good. There's nothing to complain about. Do enjoy seeing all these people walk. Yeah, nice. Yeah, the power of a town centre, everyone. Everyone coming to switch methods here. See how basically everyone coming off the metro and the trams, basically none of them are driving. They're all moving from one method to the other. This would make such a good part life cheese. We could cheese the cheeks off of the Noverian Sims here, but we'll try and resist. Okay, so we can bring a tram-only road tunnel under the highway, which I think is what we're going to do. And then let's start to align where we want our trams to actually flow here. We'll introduce a little tram turnaround point, leaving 3 tiles between the road. And what are we at here? 445 or 455? So let's make a perfect tram box here, okay? And then we'll keep this flowing. Just come back into our road network and start bringing this out a little bit more. No road guideline, of course, while we're developing a new road system. Ensure that our grids stay nice and straight with each other. And if we come back underground, we'll bring this straight under the highway. We did use tram tunnels in Palaven, so I'm happy for them to appear in Noveria as well. Okay, and then we'll grab road guideline again while we're coming onto this system here. That should be nice. And then hook that straight in. Cool. So we'll probably... we could kill this park here and introduce another tram square, like another one of these. Okay, so we can develop another little tram square like this. Let's switch the direction of flow. We will also need to actually hook this into the pre-existing tram system, otherwise it means placing another depot. So then if we make this one way, they should be able to flow, we will see. So let's bring this down. And we'll have a stop here. Then I would like them to stop within on the tram line itself. We'll see how that performs. So we should see some new purple trams leave from the depot now. Yes, here we go. Okay. Let's turn these white, and then we'll match the monorail code with that as well. So they'll take a little while to get over here. But we'll also add a stop in there too. Fantastic. So also grab the monorail and change this to the colour of white as well. And I think we'll run with amusement park path for the decoration alongside the tram stops. So the tram stops here, let's go with 3 tiles either side of that. Okay. And then we'll do the same here again as well. Let's come in from corner to corner. Connect these guys up. And into there as well. So let's have actually begin getting some office zoning down. And we'll start coming out from here. I'll come on to road length 2. And then just start developing some nice office squares and shapes. I also want to introduce a fair amount of Green Cities car parking into this area as well. So we'll come out with 10 by 4 lots, and this should be enough for us to bring in some Green Cities car parking. Yeah, in that fashion. That'll be fine. So we'll do 10 by 4 measurements in a couple of places around the office park today. Start bringing out some of these roads, and then we'll do another 10, another 4. So let's maybe switch this onto the other side. Let's do 10. And leaving 4 in the middle. Okay. And then just sticking to very kind of bulky blocks of 10 here. Possibility for some road against office action. Okay. It's very rigid networks, maintaining those perfect zoning squares is what we're after today. Let's have a look at some plazas, perhaps. A plaza with picnic tables will work nicely here somewhere, I'm sure. See where we can maybe squeeze a couple in. Maybe have one over here. And then maybe one of them here as well. Now let's get some water pipes down for the office workers. Start bringing it under the road network now. Now that we've run out of Eggs' initial starting setup for us. Okay, and then we'll also begin to map out a little bit of a network to cross over the rail here. Alright. Very nice. And then let's start zoning up some actual office squares. So we'll start getting 4x4s in first of all. It looks like we could get some big, chunky repeated 4x4 action here, which will be a really nice aesthetic view from the highway. So let's make sure that we maintain that, we'll go for some repeated 4x4 action here. Again, pathways between our zonings is always a nice addition to make sure we introduce that aesthetic into the office part today. Let's get just a regular batch there, let that grow up by itself. And then we'll want to set up our green cities districts, of course. We're not going to use IT cluster today because we're still fairly rural here. And the IT cluster assets will really break the vibe that I'm after. So let's give these 2 green city specializations. We will want a temporary power connection for you all. Let's just bring it in down to the toll booth for right now. Okay, so this is an asset that works really nicely in a 4x4 repeated pattern if we don't let them upgrade. So we might use plop the growables to get these in. They are only a level 1 office asset, so they don't actually take that long to come in. Would help if I didn't zone commercial though, so that's to make sure we zone office for an office park. See what we think. We get lots of green belt around here again today between the key and the rest of the park, of course. And there's people grabbing our trams now as well. Yeah, so I see they come in pretty often. These are also a nice one as well. I like these. But I think we'll use plot the growables to get these in. So a little bit like that. See how it all kind of merges to create one consistent asset. Granted, the base paint is a little different, but you can be picky and wait for the same bottom colour to come in if you want. But fantastic example of how a repeated pattern can help us create what looks like one singular large asset. Okay, you might even get a few of these in today. What would be the measurement here? 500 by what? Where does it end? Be up to there, right? That's going to give us 4 zoning squares. Here it is. Okay. Let's get that in again. If they would stop upgrading, we need to historical them. Okay, I don't think I hate that. I think it's okay, isn't it? Maybe like a company headquarters of some kind. Maybe a Peak 15 research facility. Who knows? Then we'll also do something nice with the bottom of the park here as well. Let's just bring in some kind of generic zoned patterns so we just have something up against the highway. And then not forget to reinstate our oil fence in here as well. Bring this down. There we go. Cool. And then possibility of some repeated plaza designs here. Save a little space for some of that path network to flow through. Bring it down here and then along this side. Swing around the back here as well, leaving 3 tiles, but the tram tunnel will be in the way, so that's going to be alright. Okay. Let's go in. So we're getting not enough workers here. That's okay. This will eventually all stabilise out. We could, just thinking about the not enough workers problem, I wouldn't mind maybe introducing some green cities high density res into an office park build. I think those assets would work fairly nicely with a design like this. So let's have a little chat about that, shall we? Let's bring temporary power connection down here instead so we get these zoning squares back. And then we'll paint out a little area here. We'll give it the self-sufficient houses specialization. And then let's zone up some bulky green cities high density res. And see if this fits our vibe. We'll also come into road guideline. And then align some spaces with the keys too. Alright, let's extend this district down here. Not that you would really find residentials within an office park, at least not really in the UK, maybe elsewhere in the world. But I think I'm happy to experiment here with some different high density res shapes. Let's see what comes in. Now, these guys, of course, will want services and whatnot, so let's place in a fire station for them. Not on the arterial, actually. Let's move this away. Let's place it on this small road next to the train line. I think that'll work quite nicely. And then also a police station too. Let's go for maybe the larger police station here. We'll place that there. Okay, so I think I'm just going to let these move up around the relative areas. Don't really want too many repeated patterns here. I'm quite keen on these though. What shape is this? Is this a 3x3? Yeah, it is. It's more the tower block vibes that I'm trying to generate here. I think the oval ones can't really stay. Might have to get rid of those. But yeah, a lot of these kind of blocky looking ones. Yeah, let's do that then. Let's remove the ovals, or the quarter ovals, I guess, right? Let's also bring our water pipe network through here as well. Okay. I think that'll blend in nice with an office park vibe, right? I don't think it's going to be the worst thing in the world. Okay, how's the monorail doing? 19 in a week. A couple of people waiting for it here as well. How's it doing at the other end? Yeah, there's a few people grabbing it. And the tram square over here. Yeah, a few folks grabbing this now as well. We will redetail this in our detailing time lapse today, of course. Okay, so we've still got a whole bunch of industrial demand here. Now let's continue to measure up some more office space in. I definitely want some buildings to kind of really sit around these car parks too. Again, let's continue to bring in all the plazas and whatnot. Makes a very nice kind of green looking office park, right? How are we doing here now? Oh, hello, repeated splice. This is a happy accident, isn't it? I think we'll keep these. I don't think we can refuse some organic repeated spice that hasn't been placed with plop the growables. Yeah, this is the vibe, right? These tower blocks around a plaza like this. This is what I'm after. This is what I had in mind. So let's make sure we historical those. This one as well. No semicircles or quarter ovals, whatever they're called. Okay. Not massive on you guys being here either. Yeah, let's maybe delete those. Wait for something a little nicer to come in there. It's the 3x3s that are working quite nicely in this design, so let's maybe wait for them to come in, more specifically zoned to get the designs that we want. Again, making sure that we keep the walkability of the city as high as possible. Let's actually do that again, just come off everything but the angle, draw it in manually, we'll get closer that way. Okay, we'll redefine this path network during the detail and time lapse so it's not quite as odd. But we'll keep people moving around here today. Develop some nicer looking green belts here too. Okay, we may use the vanilla pathway. Apologies if you guys can hear Coco messing about on her cool mat. We are experiencing a heat wave here in the UK at the minute, and the doggo is keeping herself cool on the little scratchy cool mat, so if you can hear that, I'm sorry. Okay, this is developing. How about we start introducing a touch of commercial into the area as well. We could also bring in another highway slip here as well. Someone has died at the car park. That's never good. Alright. Let's maybe bring the power connection back over here as well, just so everyone's syncing through. And then let's see what we can possibly do here. We can get some back-to-back plaza action in. Let's zone up these spaces here with office. And we can continue to bring in our path palette as well. Alright. Maybe through here too. How do the palms look in the snow, I wonder? Pretty ridiculous. Not a fan of those. We'll see. We'll find a place for them eventually. I imagine once we get to something of an amusement park build. Okay, there's an internal layer of height beginning to develop here as well, though. Alongside some burger bite action, which is fine. How about some park life assets? Maybe gazebos and piers along here as well. We will need to turn the area into a park area, though. Which is fine. I'm not adverse to that idea. If we come out here, can we use the vanilla pathway to link in and then upgrade? Yeah, there we go. There is just a very, very small sweet spot there. Which is fine. But, you know, not bothered about having this as a part cheese. This is really just to allow the placement of gazebos, cafes and stuff and whatnot, and piers along the water. Okay, let's bring this round into a couple of different places. Probably over here as well. How are our waterfront houses doing? No, these are 4x3s. Okay, if we're going to go for the repeated pattern, then let's leave that in. Let's wait for them to come in with 4x3 repetition. So the not enough workers are going away on the older buildings. But we're getting some new ones here as well. I do like these two being repeated at the head, so we'll historical these before they level up. Very nice. Again, this is developing nicely as well. The office zoning backing onto the plazas here is a very nice aesthetic. I like this. Huge fan. I like this asset too. Let's make sure that gets historicaled. Okay. Let's have a look at those part life assets now. Maybe a couple of gazebos. Do we want to maybe come off the main path here with some vanilla dirt? And drop in the occasional gazebo around. Let's also not forget our fishing piers as well. Of course, all these little park assets and commercial is all going to make the area more attractive, which means more people are going to be using the public transport. Interesting that no one is using the walkable quays to actually get over here, which is fine. I'd rather than pay to use public transport. Yeah, Monorail's getting busier. This is good news. As are the trams as well, it would appear. Maybe we'll save a space here. Let's unzone this and start to introduce some pathways that will flow behind. We'll stick with regular dirt path, I think. So let's come onto the grid. And then we'll start bringing this behind. And that will sink through just about there as well, which is nice. We can also do the same down here as well. Okay, let's bring them down. And I think that can be the end of that one. Let's go ahead and throw in another grid snapped pathway to allow people to move into the key and then go into the angle. There we go. We're actually using part path to connect onto the key, aren't we? So let's make sure we do that here as well. Let's maybe bring in some more office zonings here now too. I think if we start to have a look at how a green belt would look between the quay and the monorail, let's start introducing some forest. Which we will of course bring pathways through to break that green belt. Allow the walkability of the city to continue to flourish. Oh yay, look at all the monorail ants. Nice. Nice. Good. It's getting used slowly but surely. Okay. So I don't think I'm really minding the green cities look here. Alright, I think, I don't know, I think I'm still a little bit undecided on it, aren't I? We'll have to see. I think it just wants decorating. I think that's the problem with most things, is it looks all a bit weird until it's decorated. Let's bring some stuff through here. And then onto this point as well. And if we start to maybe bring in probably farm fence, I think nature reserve here will be not really appropriate for that rundown vibe. You'd imagine this would be well maintained. So if we were to box in this little residential area with some farm fence up against the roundabout, does this change my mind? Let's get some tragic snowy bushes in, of course. A couple of beeches. Perhaps the occasional conifer with an invasive palavin pine and some overgrowth around the base. I think that sells me a little bit more, because they do almost look like office assets themselves as well, so they do blend in. And I'm pretty sure you do get kind of high-rise apartments near office parks. There's a place in mind in Stockton-on-Tees in the northwest of England that's jumping to the forefront, where you get these kind of new apartment blocks within an office park. We'll see though. We'll see. Clearly still not sold on the idea, everyone. Okay, again, I think I'm happy to keep surrounding these plazas here. I think we maybe should start using some of the regular roads though, in certain places, just so we're getting a little bit of parking, because they can't park on these grass ones. I think maybe the central roads through the middle we will maintain as regular roads. Again, another big batch here. Let's trim off that so we get the 4 deep. Maybe I think we'll keep the arterial free. We can probably come up with some repeated design here as well. Power should be singing through now, so we can remove the power lines and then actually discuss that repeated design. Let's come into the grid. Do we just want to flank with amusement park path? Quick shout out to you as the viewers as well, guys. I've been thinking of maybe starting up a series of unmodded detailing tips, and the first episode being how you can use pathways against arterials in a variety of different shapes that we would cover in the video. If that's something you want, a series focused on unmodded detailing tips. They'll only be like 10 minutes long. They won't be as long as the Let's Play series or the modular builds. But yeah, if that's something you'd be interested in, please let me know in the comments. We can do stuff like this in different patterns and, you know, do arterials and pathways and assets that look good, specifically zoned and in repeated patterns, stuff like that, stuff that we talk about on the channel all the time. Do let me know if that's something you'll be interested in. Okay, so we can start to see how this is going to appear now if we keep decorating up with amusement park pathway. Do we want to introduce palms? Why are they so spotty on the trunk? Unsure. I'm not sure why it looks like that. I think I will also introduce a slipway here as well. What do we think? I think the asymmetrical needs to be adjusted though to accommodate that. Let's try that again. If we come down on a curvature here, changing that orientation so the traffic gets the priority to come in, then we'll move into our freeform tool and then do 330 curves, or 360 in this case. Let's see if anyone picks this up. Alright, so having watched this for a little minute, essentially, well, look, we've done it again. I'm just about to say literally no one is coming off the highway using this ramp, and then as I say it, 2 people come on. Okay, that's fine then, whatever. I'm just not going to talk anymore. That's happened way too many times for it to be a coincidence. Anyway, that does feel like a good place for a detailing time-lapse. We're going to carry on introducing some green parky vibes within these open spaces. come up with a tram plaza design here, more than likely a regular plaza now. Probably get a chessboard in here actually, now that we have the park life area in. And there's a couple of different options available to us with the park stuff. Pathways through here, linking the walkable keys in. Lots of fence detailing up against the highway to really kind of section and border this thing off and create this vibe. This is the highway side office park spice sample that we're going for here today, right? And again, lots more complementary green belt just to help segregate the oil industry refinery from the office park itself. Possibly coming through with plop the growables because we're getting a lot of plasti mold and spasm electricity. Never seen that one before. Yeah, there's a little bit too much repeated spice happening here with these office assets, so maybe refine with plop the growables and continue to bring in the amusement park palette up against the arterials, so we can just have that nice repeated design. And again, don't forget to let me know if you'd be interested in a unmodded detailing tips series. I think I'd enjoy doing that, but if you guys won't watch it, then I won't do it. But yeah, otherwise, let's detail up and then see what we think come the end, shall we? Okay guys, that is going to do it for today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, a like below is always appreciated. Equally as much if you haven't enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a dislike as well. Really happy with this. Lots of nice open green belt specific office zoning, especially these big chunky boys in the forefront of the screen here. And working with a very heavily repeated 4x4 office patterns, specifically office, really adds to that kind of one larger asset vibe, which can really make a difference with our builds. Of course, always nice to see the introduction of Monorail into the city, and this line will eventually flow into the downtown. So again, more public transport convergence with the trams here, and that town centre is ridiculously busy with public transport now, which is always nice to see. Hang around for the rest of the outro tag and indeed to the end of the episode to hear the new Patreon subscribers questions, which is a new perk for them. So if you're interested in hearing that, then you'll hear it at the end. But otherwise, I will shut up and I will leave it there. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day. Casino asks, what is your favourite unique building? Probably the office skyscraper from the Japanese content creator pack. It's always a focal point of any skyline that I try and design. Jaleesa Williams says, what would you like to see in Cities Skylines 2? I actually made a video on this for a subscriber special, but I think if I had to pick one thing, probably node manipulation, stuff that Move It has added to the game, that really makes a difference to the way that our cities look. So yeah, some kind of node manipulation mechanic within the base game, and also some improvements to traffic and the AI as well. Elizabeth Riley says, have you ever tried to recreate a real city in the game, and if so, which one? No, I haven't. I think you have to go really heavily modded to do an exact recreation. Of course, Palaven was heavily inspired by Pittsburgh. I tend to take inspiration as opposed to go for a direct recreation, so no, I haven't really. And Richard Francis says, what to you is the single most important aspect of a good city? What makes a city really tick? Public transport convergence, of course. We spoke about that a lot today. But I think having a point of reference, again, coming back to Palaven, having that constant point of reference, looking back to the Pittsburgh skyline and the way the suburbs sat around the downtown, really adds to the realism and the authenticity of any city, at least for me anyway. Thank you again to the patrons. You guys bankroll these videos, probably against your better judgment. I really appreciate it. And if you would like to ask questions, egg yolks and egg whites can ask questions over on the Patreon page. There are links down to that below. So thanks again, and I'll speak to you all soon.